Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial I'm going to show you guys how to add a command line parser to your console application. So I started out by creating a new console application and I'm going to go to Manage NuGet Packages. And in here I'm going to type MatthiWare.command-line-parser. And here you can find the version 0.2.1 that's released a couple days ago, and I'm going to install that version. It will take a while to install it, and then it's done. So what I want to do here is create a new namespace, so a new folder. I'm going to call it options. Here I will add in all of my option classes. So the first options I'm going to create are going to be the options for the program itself. So I'm going to call it program options. It doesn't have to be public, but I like it to be public. So what I'm going to do in here is create a string for the username and passwords. So these are not best practices, but anyway, this is my basic example for it, and also going to be a verbose option. So what you can do here now is say required. I'm going to import the command-line-parser.core.attributes. So it will need to be required. I'm going to give it a name, a short name. For the username, it's going to be you, and the long name is going to be username, I guess. Also going to set up a description for it. I'm going to call it username login user, something like that. Going to copy and paste this line, change it to password, password for the user. So those are required. The next one is not going to be required, but we still need to set up the name for it. V and verbose. Description is going to be verbose output, something like that, and a default value of true. So going to save this one. So that's our class, our basic class. We can remove the basic thing here, and I'm going to call it parser equals new command line parser. Import the namespace and then program options, and once again import the namespace. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much going to be the construction of it, and then I can just say parser.parse the arguments that you get here. This returns a iParser result, so result equals parser.parse. Now what I'm also going to do is create some basic configuration options. So I'm going to say options equals new command line parser options. You can construct an object like this. I'm going to say app name is the only one I'm going to change. So the app name, but we also have the auto print usage and errors. This one is true by default. This will print the using. So if you ask for the help commands or there are errors, it will automatically print those. You can disable that and you can print them manually if you want. You can enable or disable the help options. You can specify the help option name with the appropriate format, and you can also choose alternative prefixes, but I'm not going to use those. So you can just parse, give those options to the constructor of the command line parser. So now we have our results, and we can do a basic if check if the result has errors. Oops. Then we don't want to do anything and just maybe just write something. Parsing has errors, and you can just return here because nothing is going to happen. But if we don't have errors, I'm going to call it program options and then result, and the result will be in the result variable. And then I can just say console.write line. I'm going to call it program executed with and the first one was username, program options.username, duplicate this line, password, and duplicate it once more, verbose, and this is going to be it. This is a basic setup. I'm going to compile, build the solution, and let's check it out. So .NET this, just fire it up. Oops, apparently it did not compile. Just rebuild it just to be sure. So let's run it like this. As you can see, it printed out parsing has errors because we are missing the required options. So let's add those. Matt, the P, my pass, and then verbose we don't need to add that. So Matt, my pass, verbose true because that's the default one, verbose false. And as you can see, now it's false, so it parsed it correctly. But now let's say we want to add some commands to our program. It's going to be pretty easy. Before you parse it, obviously, we want to parser.add command. We want to have some our own options, so I'm going to make a start command for some reason, so I'm going to call it start options. We don't need those. Public, oops, okay. So it's going to be an int port like this. Going to be really lazy. I'm going to copy and paste this one. Required. The P and the ports for the server, something like this. Going to quickly import the namespace, and we can now go to the IntelliSense once again. You can see we have the program options, or we have a D command with program options, so that's going to be our start options. Like this, give it a name, start required. It doesn't need to be required, so I'm going to say it doesn't need to be required. Description starts the server. Okay. You can do some more configuration here. You can configure the start options manually without using the these attributes here. But what I want to do is I'm going to execute it. I'm going to P and S. So what this is going to do is, once the server executes when you type the start command, it's going to parse the start options, and then it's going to give you the program options and the start options. So I'm going to once again type a console.writeLine, and I'm basically going to say start options. No, I'm going to call it server started on port and then s.port. Right, so that's what I was going to do with that. And now let's rebuild the solution just to be sure. And then I can do it like this. Still works. Not going to specify this, but start -p on 8080. So yeah, so now you can see server started on port 8080. Program executed, so it's still going to continue here in the flow and do everything you want. But now let's say you don't know anything about this, so you can type this without it, or the help options, whatever you want. And you see here we have a start command, so you're curious, what does the start command do? So I'm going to type start -- help, and then you can see usage, CLI tutorial start, and then the options, the port for the server. So that's basically pretty much how you can quickly add a command line parser to your console application and let everything work as expected without having to do the parsing manually. So that's pretty much it for this tutorial. I have to say the program is still in its early, the command line parser is still in its early stages, so there might be still some bugs in there, and I'm always open to help you guys with those in the comments, or you can go to the Github for the command line parser and post a new issue. You can find the links for those in the description. So thank you for watching, and see you guys later.